Today is World Environment Day, a day to raise environmental issues around the world. This year, the UN is focusing on beating plastic pollution. If you can't reuse it, don't use it. We're going to focus on LA-based tiny house devotee TK Devine, who every day tries to live intentionally, which for him means making the choice to sacrifice certain luxuries in favor of a more fulfilling life. Devine and a cast of tinkerers believe they have a solution to the housing and homeless crisis, creating the world's first high-tech porta-potty tiny home prototype that can roll onto any unused piece of land without needing to hook into the grid in any way.
Our goal is to make sure that we have stacking functions, components that work with each other rather than independent from one another. Here in Southern California, we have an abundance of sunlight, and so using solar power is a no-brainer. And so that helps power our air water generator, and that is able to take molecules from the air and convert them into water. We get about 10 gallons a day. That can power our low-flow shower and sink. So when the gray water is emptied out of those pieces, it is pumped up to the rooftop garden, and it irrigates the garden. And the garden helps to grow food, which can feed the resident. And I guess that can bring us to the sewage function, which we're starting off with a composting toilet, and it's kind of an auger system, so it has a horizontal corkscrew. Slowly take the waste into a composting bucket. And we find that manually that disposal only requires like 2 to 4 months is what we're expecting.
So you're still in the test phase of it. What does that look like, the test phase?
Yeah, well, that's going to be me. So that's the fun part.
So you've got one prototype, basically.
We do. Yeah, we're a tiny group. So, I mean, it's essentially a collection of volunteers, and we have scraped together everything that we can to make this work. I think there's kind of a misconception when you see some of the sophistication of the model that we have some big corporation behind us, but we're just a bunch of concerned citizens that got together, and we're really passionate about putting this solution out in the public and hopefully getting some support to make it work. But yeah, right now it's just it's about getting in the field, trying a few different properties around the city, and publicizing to see how it works and to show people that tiny living is possible. And that's kind of part of what the porta potty helps achieve. It's a little bit provocative.
Well, let's go there. Why would you say that it's provocative?
Well, I don't think anyone has built a home inside of a porta potty before. It's a space that perceptually is off-putting. A lot of people would see it as a place where no one would want to spend time. And so I think it's interesting for us when we're talking about a housing solution that has not yet been implemented. We're talking about people using backyard space for temporary housing that can be affordable, that can help boost a crisis that we have here, help solve a crisis we have here. And so I think it's important for us to put that on display and say, you can't necessarily judge a book by its cover. We have this porta potty here. From the outside, it may look displeasing, but when you enter, there's quite an array of innovation and comfort and coziness that I think can help turn some people's minds about not just the porta potty itself, but the entire concept of tiny urban backyard living.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because when I looked at it, I didn't even realize that it was a porta potty at first, and I just thought, I was looking at the whole package, and it just was like, oh my gosh, this is so innovative. This is so cool. And then as I was watching the tour on that video of you maximizing every single square inch of space, and to me, that's what I saw. And I'm, juxtaposed to, people just laying on the streets here in Seattle in absolute squalor and filth and misery. So hats off to you for thinking outside the box. But what has been the reaction to, it sounds like you've, based on what you just said, that you probably have had some not so positive reactions to your creation.
Well, we expected to have the full range of reactions to this. First of all, it's not our intent to take a bunch of porta potties and start scattering them around the city. This is, and again, a campaign to raise awareness for tiny living in the city and the possibilities that it can present to all folks involved, really. For example, Los Angeles City has just proposed an ordinance to allow tiny houses on wheels on residential land. We're kind of lobbying to to get the language in a supportive, kind of favorable way. But this is it's an opportunity for us to get the public sort of a little bit more engaged in these solutions.
The permitting process, I'm sure, in LA is equally as challenging here as it is here in Seattle. So what does your test run look like? Where are you going to park this thing? How long are you going to live in it? Since you are the test subject here, what are your plans?
It's going to start this coming month, and I'll be in the San Fernando Valley, and it's June, so it's going to be warm. That's something that we wanted. We want to test out the insulation that we put inside the unit. We want to see if we can further insulate with some of that rooftop garden. A lot of what we're going to be doing is going to be based on temperature this first time around. We want to make sure that we can actually generate what we were talking about generating as far as power, as far as water. We want to make sure that we don't have to empty any gray water tanks. And basically, we just want to put this on display and show that living off-grid can be done responsibly. Originally I said I was going to do this for a year, but however long it takes for us to do the necessary R&D in the field and a promotion and meet the goals we need to meet is going to be the plan.
You can see the Porta Potty home and find out more about TK Devine's Porta Potty adventure on Facebook at TK Devine Diaries.